God gave Abraham and Sarah a son, Isaac. Isaac had 2 sons, and one of them became the father of 12 sons. Those 12 sons all had families of their own. When there was a famine in the land of Canaan, they went to live in Egypt. There the offspring of Abraham grew into a large people, just as God had promised. They were called the people of Israel. But the king of Egypt became scared of the Israelites. Suppose a nation would attack Egypt, and the Israelites would fight alongside the enemy? He decided to oppress them and use them for slave labor. But God blessed the people of Israel, and despite the hard work, they had many children. Then the king of Egypt ordered his people to throw all infant Israelite boys into the big river, the Nile. The people of Israel started to cry out to God to come and help them. Would he? In this awful time, a little baby boy was born. His mother hid him, but when he was 3 months old, she knew she could no longer hide him. So she made a little basket that she coated with tar and pitch. She placed Moses in it and hid the basket among the reeds of the river Nile. There the little boy was found by the king's daughter, who was bathing in the river. She adopted him as her son, and he grew up in the palace. When he had grown into a man, he watched an Egyptian overseer beating an Israelite, one of his people. Then he fled the country, met a woman, married her, and became the shepherd of his father-in-law's sheep. He did this for 40 years. Moses was 80 years old by now. Still, God had not helped the people of Israel. But now the time had come. God ordered Moses to go back and see the king of Egypt and asked to let the people celebrate a festival for God in the wilderness. Moses went together with Aaron, his older brother. The Pharaoh, king of Egypt, did not listen. Then God sent plagues. Those plagues were terrible. The water of the Nile changed into blood. There were frogs. Insects came and ate all the harvest. There was a terrible hailstorm, and so on. Each time the Pharaoh begged Moses to pray for him so God would stop the plague. But each time the plague stopped, the Pharaoh would not let the people go. Then God ordered the people of Israel to do something special. Each family had to kill a lamb and smear its blood on the doorposts of their houses. God told Moses that every firstborn in all of Egypt would die. But all Israelite fathers who obeyed his command and put the lamb's blood on the doorposts would not lose their oldest son. Their sons would be saved through the blood of the lamb. The families had to eat the lamb's meat along with the bread and herbs. This meal is called the Passover meal because God would pass over all the houses of the Israelites that had blood on the doorposts. The Israelites did as they were told. Then, as Exodus 12:29-30 says, "At midnight the Lord struck down all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh who sat on his throne to the firstborn of the captive who was in the dungeon, and all the firstborn of the livestock. And Pharaoh rose up in the night, he and all his servants and all the Egyptians. And there was a great cry in Egypt, for there was not a house where someone was not dead." The Egyptians did not have the lamb's blood on their doorposts to protect their firstborn from death. From now on, the Jews were to celebrate Passover each year to remember how God saved them from the hands of the Egyptians. This lamb actually points to the Savior, who would come to give up himself as a sacrifice for the sins of the people. One day, still far away in the future, Passover would take on a new meaning when the perfect lamb, the Savior, would die to save people from the power of sin. Exodus 12:31-32 says, "Then he summoned Moses and Aaron by night and said, 'Up, go out from among my people, both you and the people of Israel, and go, serve the Lord, as you have said. Take your flocks and your herds, as you have said, and be gone, and bless me also.' Finally, Pharaoh allowed them to go. That very night, the Israelites packed their things hurriedly and took off. God led the people of Israel by a pillar of fire at night and a pillar of cloud by day. They came to the Red Sea and could go no further. Something terrible happened. Pharaoh changed his mind and came after them with a large army of chariots. The people were trapped. They panicked and began to shout to Moses, but Moses urged them to trust God. Exodus 14:13-14 says, "And Moses said to the people, 'Fear not, stand firm, and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will work for you today. For the Egyptians, whom you see today, you shall never see again. The Lord will fight for you, and you have only to be silent.'" This is exactly what God did. He ordered Moses to stretch out his staff over the sea. When Moses did this, God made a pathway through the sea, and the Israelites could walk through it. When the Egyptians saw this, they decided to follow them. God ordered Moses to stretch out his staff again. The water came back upon the whole army of Pharaoh, and every soldier and horse drowned. But the Israelites reached the shore safely. Exodus 14:31 says, Israel saw the great power that the Lord used against the Egyptians. So the people feared the Lord, and they believed in the Lord and in his servant Moses. The Israelites did not have to do anything. They only needed to trust in God. This is what God longs for, that you put your trust in him, who is almighty and who cares for you. The main points of this lesson are: 1. God delivers his people. 2. God uses people, in this story Moses, to carry out his plan. 3. God is more powerful than any king on earth.